everyone, and welcome to the first class in our Falls Prevention series. In today's session, we're going to be learning about exercises to help you build strength and prevent falls. My name's Leah Rusi, and I'm going to be working behind the scenes with our instructor today to help everything go as smoothly as possible. Before we start, I have a couple of Zoom housekeeping items. Please make sure that your microphones are muted and your cameras are off for the duration of the presentation today. You are welcome to turn your cameras back on when we get to the Q&A portion at the end. We will be taking questions, like I said, at the end of the presentation. You're welcome to put your questions in the chat box at any time during the presentation, and we'll address them at the end. And at that time, if you'd like to ask a question out loud, you can also use the raise hand function in Zoom. Our presenter today is Aubrey Reinmiller. Aubrey is a certified personal trainer, licensed physical therapist assistant, certified senior fitness specialist, and functional aging specialist, focused on helping those over 50 to reinvent aging. She's the owner of Vitality Fitness and Wellness, offering online fitness solutions to help women and men over 50 to improve their balance, strength, and vitality. Aubrey is the author of the Amazon bestseller, Reinvent Aging, the over 50 fitness guide to improve energy, strength, and balance. And she and her team have been providing balance classes for Oasis for the past 5 years. So Aubrey, we're so happy to have you here today. Thank you very much, and I'll hand it over to you now.
Thank you so much, Leah. I really appreciate it. It's great to see everyone today. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I'm going to go through some exercises that are helpful for your balance. And I've broken them down into categories so we can kind of understand what types of exercises are good for your balance, and we can practice them. So I welcome you, if you're feeling safe, if you're feeling good in your home, to join me and try a few of these exercises. As well, at the very end of our program, we're going to send you some information online. There's going to be a handout of some standing still balance positions, as well as a few links for my YouTube channel to help you go through and practice some of these exercises on your own. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll get some more videos as I put them up as we get more information regarding this program. So it'd be good to hop in there and be able to do the exercises again and again. But I invite you today, if you're feeling good, to try a few of these exercises along with me. So it's always important to make sure that you're safe when you're doing exercise. And when you're doing balance exercises, there's a few things to note. You want to make sure that you have something sturdy beside you. I always recommend like a sturdy dining chair, one that has, back here, no wheels. You can turn it to the side of you or stand behind it if you need to have it for support. Another position that's safe for your balance is if you're practicing some of your stationary balance positions, standing with your back to a corner of the wall where you've got wall on either side of you. That can help you to keep a really tall posture and have your hands up there to grab the wall if you need it, rather than doing so at like the front of a countertop, holding onto a countertop or a chair. That may throw your center of balance forward and affect your balance position. So those are two good ways to make sure that you're safe with your balance exercises, and we'll use those today. Feel free to join me if you would like. So it's always important to warm up our bodies when we're doing exercise. It's especially important with our balance because we want to improve our mobility and make sure our joints are warm, make sure our body is reacting quickly, make sure we're ready. So we're going to go through a little simple warm up here just to get your body moving. So if you can, I invite you to stand with me and do this warm up. We're going to stand nice and tall. Tummy muscles in. I'm going to talk about the core a lot today because the core has a big part to do with your balance. So you're going to tuck those tummy muscles in. You're going to make sure you're standing nice and tall here. My chest is open. My shoulders are right over my hips. My hips are right over my feet. I'm not bent forward this way. So I want you to really squeeze tall and stay nice and tall here. That helps your center of gravity to be right in the center there and not throw you forward or backwards. So we're in that great posture. We're just going to turn our head side and side. Keep going. As we do some of these exercises, I'll talk about why they're important. So it's really important to have good mobility in your neck and your head because your visual system is 1/3 of your balance. So you really want to make sure that you have the ability to see where you're going. And part of that has to do with your neck mobility, right? So we're just going to go easy here, side and side. And now we're going to face forward. Keep your head forward. Let's just tilt ear to the shoulder. It'll just be a little bit of a smaller motion here, but I really want you to keep your head facing forward. Don't let it turn. Good. Very nice. We're going to go back and forth here just a few times. We're going to warm up our full body. So we're going to move our shoulders here next and get into good shoulder circles back. It's important to help our posture stand up nice and tall with our balance. Couple more here. Let's go into a big arm circle. So let's take it one arm at a time, forward, up, around, and back. We react with our balance through many different ways. We throw out a hand to catch us. We throw out a foot to catch us in a big step. Sometimes we just shift our weight or move our hips a little bit or our ankles a little bit to react with our balance if we're thrown off balance. So we want to make sure that all of those areas are working like we should. We're going to switch sides. Big circles, up, around, and back. Good. Grab your hands together. We're going to rock. Loosen up that mid-back. A lot of times when people get older or unsure of their balance, they start to get real rigid as they walk. They lose that natural rotation that happens in our upper body as we walk. And so we want to make sure we keep that rotation and keep our body moving. Good. We're going to bring our hands low here at an X. Open them up at a Y. Keep your back nice and tall. Don't arch. We're just warming up the mid-back here and our shoulders. Really good postural exercise here, getting you in a good position. Of course, if you have any limitations with one side or the other, you could do this one-sided. Just a couple more. Good. All right, relax. Let's warm it up with our lower body here. If you can, you swing your arms. If you need to hold on to that chair and have that chair beside you, you can turn it sideways away from you. Hold on to the back of the chair and just march there. Let's keep ourselves nice and tall here. Chest is up. Right here. Good. Head is looking ahead. Make sure we're not looking down at the ground. And you can swing your arms if you like. Good. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. We're going to take it into a little side step here. My hips and my toes are going to face forward. I can hold on to the chair if needed. I'm going to take one side step and right back together. One side step and right back together. Keep those hips and toes forward. Try to stay as tall as you can. Squeeze those tummy muscles and keep your shoulders back and your chest open. We're just going side and side here, warming up those outer hip muscles and our ability to take that nice, good side step. And relax. Good. All right, we're going to go into some weight shifting exercises. So as I was mentioning, our body has a few different ways of reacting if we were nudged off balance. Let's say I was on the metro and somebody just bumped into me. At first, if I was bumped just a little bit, my hips would move a little bit, my ankles would move a little bit, but I wouldn't really take a step. I would just kind of shift my body, pull my core in, wiggle my hips, wiggle my ankles a little bit, and I would bring myself back onto balance. Let's say I was nudged really hard. Somebody didn't see me at all. They just slammed right into me. If I was nudged, I would then take a really big step and react that way. That's how I would catch myself. Or I'm sure you've seen it before. Somebody's gotten on the metro and they haven't gotten themselves settled yet. And the metro starts going and they're like, ooh, and they take that big step. We want to have those reactions become automatic for us. We want them to happen automatically, quickly, and make sure that they're steady and they're right in there in our brain, they're right there in our reactions, they're right there in our nervous system, and they're ready to happen. What happens sometimes is we're not practiced with those. We start to lose those connections. We start to lose that stability, and we need to practice it to make sure that it stays strong for us. So we're going to practice some weight shifting today. We'll start with that first part that I was talking about, the weight shift. That's the first way that our body reacts if we're thrown off balance just a little bit. So we're going to take our feet apart here. You can hold onto the chair if you need it. Remember, we're keeping those tummy muscles in, tall posture here. We're just going to shift our weight side and side. So our hips are going and our shoulders are going together on this one. As you shift all the way to one side, you can lift your heel a little bit from the other side. Try to find your limit of stability. Push yourself just further than you think you can go each time and just see how far it is that you really are stable. Of course, be careful, hold on if you need to, but get that feeling of what's as far as you can go there. Good. So this is a nice and simple warm up here to get our weight shift going. Now we're going to pick it up a little bit. So we're going to do some reaching exercises. I like to call this one pick the weeds. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach with our hand down right about our knee level. And I am bending my knees and my hips here. And you can see I've shifted my body weight over this side. I'm going to pick these weeds up. I'm going to shift over here and place them over my neighbor's fence. Right? Shift down here, pick up those weeds, and all the way up over my neighbor's fence. Down here, and all the way up. Keep going. Down and up. We're warming up our ankles, our hips, getting that weight shifting to happen a little bit more naturally, a little bit more. The more we practice, the more it will happen naturally when we need it. Good. Let's do one more. Good. All right, let's go over to the other side. Down here, pick those weeds, and you can keep this right here. You can go all the way down. You can challenge yourself to whatever you feel comfortable. But I'm going just to about my knee and then reaching up and over. Bending my hips and knees and then reaching over. Bending my hips and knees and reaching over. And my weight is kind of evenly distributed between my toes and my heels here. One more. Good. Let's make it a little bit harder. Let's say that's super duper easy for you. We're going to take our feet just a little wider, grab both hands together. We're going to come down here at the corner and press up and through. Turn and twist our body, lift our heel. Come down here, up and through. Squeeze our hips at the top. Shift our weight over that one side into the heel and then press up on the toe. Good. So we're shifting our weight all the way from one side, all the way to the other. Take this as slow or as quick as you want to take it. You can make your own challenge. Let's do one more. Good. Okay, let's even it out and do the other side. Down here at this corner, press up and through, shift your weight, and all the way onto the other heel. Shift, and all the way onto the other heel. One more. Good. All right, we're going to practice some forward, backwards weight shifting. Let's stagger our feet here. They're each on their own train track. They're not on the same line, but they're each on their own line. My toes are facing forward. My hips are facing forward. My body is up nice and tall, tummy muscles in. I'm going to shift my weight forward, rock on my toe. Shift my weight backwards, rock on my heel. Shift and shift. Shift and shift. Good. Nice and steady here, back and forth. As you get the swing of it, you can add in some opposite arms. So it goes big swing, big swing, big swing, big swing. And go as quick or as slow as you want to go on this one. Good. But you're getting that good forward and back weight shift through your toes and heels. Your ankles and your hips are moving. It's a good motion to get back in practice with. One more. Good. Switch your legs the other way and start with just the leg part. Shift up on the toe, shift back on the heel. Forward and back. Make sure your whole body's coming together. You're not leading with your nose, but you're leading with your hips. Your hips are coming forward and back. Yep, good. So make sure you're tall posture and you're not leading with that nose, but you're leading with your hips. Good. You don't want to change the center of gravity. And as you get the swing of it, let's add in those arms. So it's opposite arm. Good. You could always do this one arm if you want to hold on to the chair as well. You could always do that one arm and still add in that with your weight shift. Good, one more, and relax, good, come back here. So like I talked about, first, if you were nudged off balance, you would shift your body with your hips, or you would shift your body with your ankles. Your ankles or your hips would react with a little bit of a weight shift. If you were really nudged, you would take a big step. You would have a larger reaction. Your body would take a big, quick step to catch you, or maybe you would throw an arm out as well to catch you. And so those are big reactions that we should practice. So if you have a chair, let's turn it to the side this way so that it's there to support you if you need it. We're going to practice just taking a nice size step forward, side, and back. Okay, so here we go. Big step forward, come back together. Big step to the side, come back together. Big step backwards and come back together. Most people get in the habit of taking a really tiny step backwards, and that's not enough support. If they should lose their center, if they should lose their balance backwards, they're not taking a large enough step to catch themselves. So you really want to practice, especially taking a nice large step. Shouldn't be monster step, but should be a nice solid step backwards. So this is a nice, easy exercise. You can go forward, side, and back. And just you can vary the speed with this. You can vary your challenge. So it's not every day that we are doing just one solid task, right? We're not just stepping. We've got 100 things going on in our mind. A loud noise happens. We're holding something. You know, lots of different variables happen here. Something comes out in front of us. We have to stop quickly. So if you're doing this exercise, you can vary it a few different ways. You can do it changing speeds. You can do it nice and quick. Pretend that you only have a second to get in each way and see how quickly your body can get into that position and recover. The next thing you could do is give yourself like a mental task. Do some different counting. Pick a number, a random number, 93, and count backwards by threes. 93, 90, keep going. Give yourself a brain challenge, a cognitive challenge, while you're doing that physical task. And then the other thing would be you could do, add a reach to it, or add carrying something, or even a ball toss to it. You can vary it up by giving yourself more challenge, because more times in the day than not, we're not just doing one thing. We've got 100 things coming at us, and that's when we lose our focus and we lose our balance, because we have so many things coming at us. Most people say, oh, it just came out of nowhere. I don't even know what happened, but there was so many things going on in your world that you weren't totally just focused on stepping on that curb or whatever it was. So we've got that stepping exercise that you can try. We can certainly do the other leg, but I'll move on to a different exercise. You can do some marching and vary that up. So we can do our regular march. Let's go ahead into our regular march if you're joining me. And then let's go slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, slow, quick, quick. So you're varying the speed and varying the reaction time that your body has to do those motions. That exercise is also good because you're getting in a moment of single leg stance, which is another part of your balance. If you can hold that single leg stance for a good 10 to 30 seconds, you're solid. You're much less likely to have a fall. So anytime you can incorporate that in and practice that and help that to get better, that's good. So that incorporates a little bit of that single leg stance moment as you're doing that slow march. Next exercise we can do is a different march. So we'll go march, 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 lift, march, 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 lift. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got it. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. So there's a few different ways you can vary your marching positions. You can see that we added in that single leg stance moment again to practice that a little bit, as well as practicing our quickness with our speed and just some different stepping to get our body more comfortable with reacting quickly when we need it to. Let's do an exercise where we want to vary our steps. So we talked about the need to have that nice wide step, but sometimes we have to have that wide step and then a narrow step, or turn our body. So let's practice an exercise here called V step. So we're going to go wide, wide, narrow, narrow, wide, wide, narrow, narrow, wide, wide, narrow, narrow, wide, wide, narrow, narrow. You got it. Keep going. Give it a couple more reps. Get your body used to it. Good. Good, and relax. Very good. We're going to go ahead and sit here next. We're going to do a few core exercises. I talked about the importance of a really strong core with your exercise, with your balance, and making sure that core is nice and strong is a big part of your balance. Making sure you've got that good tall posture, your center of gravity is where it needs to be, as well as having a strong core is a good part of your balance. So we're going to do an exercise here to get that core working a little bit. I want you to sit on the front edge of your chair, tuck those tummy muscles up and in. Pull them in. Like if I was going to be absolutely horribly mean and I was about to punch you in the tummy, you would tuck those muscles in and brace yourself. You'd protect yourself. I want you to get that feeling. Tuck those tummy muscles in, protect yourself there. If you have a weight, great, you can hold it. If not, you can just bring your hands together and hold them out like this. But we're going to hold our hands on the weight, hold it right out here. Tuck our tummy muscles in, keep up nice and tall. Don't lean back. we're going to do little mini marches here. Here we go. Little mini marches. Keep those tummy muscles in. Keep your back up nice and tall. Don't lean back. Keep breathing. And little mini marches here. You can feel your core working on this one. Keep going. And relax, good. So I usually do anywhere between 10 and 20 marches, just depends on how strong you are or how much of a break you need, and then do it a couple repetitions and see how you feel. So let's do one more repetition just so we get the feel for it, okay? So we're gonna pull our tummy muscles in, straighten our arms out. If you have that weight, it certainly makes a difference. You'll feel that core working. Stay up nice and tall here, little mini marches. Doesn't have to be a heavy weight. Lots of people have like a 2-pound weight at home. That works just well. Keep breathing. And relax, good. You can always add in a core twist here. There's 2 different ways you could do your core twist. You could keep your body upright and move your body this way, nice and controlled. Pull those tummy muscles in, stay nice and tall. You're working those core muscles. Or you can do your core exercise this way, a little twist this way. It's 2 different variations. You can hold it close to your chest, not resting on your chest, but in front of your chest. Pull those tummy muscles in, slightly lean back. So my back is straight, but I'm slightly leaning back. And I'm gonna do little mini twists here with my head, chest, and arms all going together. It's important that they all go together here, and I keep that control. Keep those tummy muscles in, and keep that motion under control. As long as I do that, I'm not gonna hurt my back. Same thing, about 10 or 20 twists, and then relax. So those are a few ways you can work your core, even if you can't get down on the floor, or they're pretty easy exercises, pretty straightforward exercises to get you working those core muscles, which are so important for our balance as well. We're gonna go ahead and, actually I'm gonna show you one more for your posture while we're here. So if you have a band, which I know a lot of people from Oasis are given bands through some of our programming and things like that. So we're gonna sit up nice and tall. You can do this standing or seated, but we'll just do it seated just to give you a little breather. We're gonna pull those tummy muscles in. Keep your arms out nice and straight. Pull apart at the band, bring it about your necklace level, and control it on the way in. We're really working these mid-back muscles here, the muscles between your shoulder blades. You're squeezing your shoulder blades together and then controlling it as you bring it back in. I'll do a few reps here. Open it up, slow it back in. Open it up, slow it back in. Really squeeze at your shoulder blades and control it on the way in. You can do this exercise without a band, certainly, but it gives you much more challenge if you've got that band. Keep it nice and controlled and keep those elbows nice and straight. Good, and relax. So those are a few great core and postural exercises for you that are important for your balance. We're gonna stand up and work on some of our stationary balance positions here next. I'm gonna make sure my space is clear. Of course, a big part of safety with our balance is making sure we don't have random things around. Another thing is making sure that you have shoe wear that's fully on your feet. I see a lot of people walking around in slippers that they've crunched the backs of and they can step
Aubrey,
out.
this is Leah. I don't know if you can hear me, but we're losing you a little bit.
You're what?
Are you back? We were losing you a little bit. I think you're good now.
Oh, okay. Phew, I didn't know. So yeah, I was mentioning that a big part of safety is making sure your area is clear and that you've got good supportive shoe wear and make sure that you're safe there. So we're gonna stand here and do a few of our stationary balance positions. So as you're standing up, there's a few different ways that we can practice our stationary balance. And so we're going to work on those muscles, those ankle muscles, those hip muscles, the core muscles that help us react and hold on and grab on, that proprioception that we have, that awareness of our body reacting if we need to, if we're losing our balance. So these exercises are good to practice that, that quick reaction with our hips and our ankles, and make sure that our nervous system and our proprioception is aware and ready. So you can start, the easiest position we have is feet apart here, shoulder width. The next position is feet as close as you can. The next position is half tandem. Slightly bring one foot halfway ahead of the other. As you do that, shift your weight between each foot. Then you can switch sides. Then you've got full tandem position. One foot all the way ahead of the other. In that one, you're going to make sure your weight is evenly distributed between each foot. And then we have our partial single leg stance, where you're going to stand on one foot and touch a toe, and our full single leg stance position, where we're practicing anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds. We're trying to build that up. That's our ultimate goal. So I want you to find the position that you feel like is a challenge for you, and then we're going to vary it up a little bit, okay? So it may be that you're starting here feet together, that's no problem. It may be that you're starting here in half tandem or full tandem. Find a position that you feel is challenging for you. So we're going to hold that position. You can bring your hands in any position. You can have them out straight. You can have them across your chest. That's the standardized test position, is to hold them across your body here. But as we're here, we're going to move our head in some different positions. As I mentioned, the visual system makes up 1/3 of our balance. Our proprioception and our body makes up the other part of our balance. And so we're going to make sure that we challenge that and work our proprioception a little bit harder by varying our vision. So we're going to stand in this position, whichever feels like a good challenge for you. You should have just like a little wobble. Your toes should grab on just a little bit. Your heels and ankles should be working a little bit to hold that position for you. As we're here, we're going to turn our head. So I want you to turn your head, eyes open, and just turn your head side and side. Keep breathing. Should be a little bit harder for you, but it shouldn't be so challenging. So if it's so challenging, go back to an easier foot position. Good, very nice. Now switch your feet, switch positions. If you were in a half tandem or a tandem stance, switch sides to the other side. If you were in that feet together position, you could keep that, or maybe try a half tandem and see how you feel. We're going to add in those head turns again. So side and side, side and side. Good. Now let's try up and down. Look up and down, up and down. Good. If you are in a half tandem or full tandem position, make sure your weight is evenly distributed between each foot. And it's actually the back foot that's the driver for this exercise. And relax. So if you feel like, oh, geez, I'm really struggling with this side, it's the foot that's behind that's actually the one that's a little bit more trouble for you with that exercise. So you may want to try it a few more repetitions on that side than you do on the other side. You can practice these exercises about 30 seconds or so. You could always vary up those positions. Like I said, we changed your visual field on this one to give you a challenge, but you could also add a cognitive task. Like naming different flowers or sports teams, or counting, or name foods that start with the letter F, or any random challenge is a good one. You could do math problems, anything that gives you a little bit of something else to think about while you're doing that exercise. You could also toss a ball, bounce a ball. and try different things as far as that goes. You could reach in different directions, maybe try to reach low and try to reach high and see if you could hold those positions. Those are a few different ways that you can challenge your static balance positions and make yourself a little bit more fine-tuned with that proprioception, that body awareness, that body reaction if you are nudged off balance. We're going to go through some agility exercises here next and just give you some ideas of how to work on those quick foot movements, right? So like I said, we have a few different ways that our balance is challenged. Our balance can be challenged just a little bit. We can react with a quick weight shift, or we can react with a big step. And so if we're practicing our agility, that makes sure that our feet can move quickly, our feet can react to different environments. I know a lot of people were saying in my last round of the balance classes that they were worried about going up and down the stairs, especially down if it was like a really big set of stairs. So we practiced some foot quick taps to make sure that their body was reacting quickly and that it was steady and ready. We also gave them a few strengthening exercises to make sure their muscles were strong enough for the activity. But you can practice some quick toe taps here, vary it up to be heel taps. Let's go toe taps again, and heel taps. Toe, heel, vary it up. Give your body a challenge. You can even do it with a partner, have them call it out. Toes, heels, heels, toes. Try to see if you can react. It's a kind of a fun game. We'll go into a couple different varieties here of our agility. As simple as we can be, we go into our box step. So that's a big step forward together, a side step together, a backward step together, and a side step together. So just keep going on that one. Good. You can add, progress this, same way. You could add a head turn in there, look a different way each way. You could add a ball bounce at each corner. There's a few different ways that you could vary it up. Good. You can do your tandem walk. We know that one, right? That's like our sobriety test where we go heel and toe. Heel and toe. Make sure your eyes are up on this one. You don't want to look down because the moment that you're looking down right ahead of you, you are shifting your center of balance. Your center of balance goes backwards and it changes. So you really want to make sure you're looking up. You can still see what's coming up ahead of you. You won't lose that, but you want to make sure that your posture is good and that you're looking up ahead of you. You can do that forward tandem walk and a backwards tandem walk. You can do it quicker, slower. Sometimes some of these exercises are even more challenging if you do them slowly. So that's another way that it can give you more of a challenge. You can go into like a grapevine step. A grapevine step is a crossover, open, cross behind, and open. Over, open, behind, and open. Over, open, behind, and open. You can go as quick or as slow as you want to go with that and challenge your balance and your agility, your footwork there on that. You can put a line on the floor and practice some quick steps. Over the line, behind the line, over the line, behind the line. Really quickly, you could even move down the line. So forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. You could do it side and side, side and side, side and side. So those are some good ways to get your feet moving quickly and make sure that your body's reacting quickly and it's practiced and ready to react very quickly when we need it. We're going to go through a couple strengthening exercises that are important for your balance, and then we'll do a few stretches and take some time for questions. So as far as our strengthening exercises go, it's really important, like I talked about, to have strong core, but it's also important to have strong hips. We noticed last time in my round of balance exercises that a lot of the participants had some weakness in their hips, and they were finding it really tricky to do some of these stepping exercises because they found their hips and their body shifting a lot. So if that's the case for you, you really want to work on the strengthening of your hip muscles, the outer hip muscles and the back hip muscles. And you want to practice doing these exercises as steadily as you possibly can. Really squeezing those hip muscles and doing that step as steady as you can as you go through that exercise. So we're going to go through a few exercises here. You can stand nice and tall. You can hold the side or the back of your chair, and we're just going to kick out to the side. So I want your toes and your hips to face forward, kick, and then slowly bring it in. This is not the hugest kick that I can do. This is a very controlled kick, and bring it back in. I'm actually working both hips here. I'm working the standing hip. I'm squeezing that glute muscle, squeezing the side of my hip muscle, and I'm also working this hip muscle as I bring that exercise out and back in. I suggest when you're working on your strengthening exercises that you do anywhere between 8 and 12 repetitions. You could work your way up to 15 repetitions and then do 2 or 3 sets of those exercises. Let's go into a backwards kick here. So I'm going to turn myself to the side here so you can see how much of a kick I want you to do. It's a small kick, but my leg is straight the whole way. And you can't really tell from that angle, but I'm kicking straight back. So my body is nice and straight, my back is not bending, but I'm kicking straight back with that leg. So this exercise, I'm working the glute back here, but I'm also working the standing hip over here, which is good. So those are 2 exercises to work your hips here. I'm going to go through a couple more if we've got time. I think we've got a few more minutes before we get into our stretches and our questions. But a good exercise that you can work the front of your thigh muscles, your hip muscles back here is just a regular sitting and stand exercise. So what I want you to do is bring your feet apart here, keep your knees apart. We're going to stand up nice and quickly and then slow and controlled sit back down. Let's take 3, 2, 1, and we'll sit. Then we'll come up nice and quickly and 3, 2, 1, and sit. So really control it. Try not to let those knees come together. You're going to work your hips here, your quads, and really control that motion. Good. Let's do just a couple more. We won't go through full 15. Good. All right. I'm going to demonstrate 2 exercises for you lying down. You certainly do not have to join me on this one. I know getting down and up from the floor can be a challenge, so I'm going to demonstrate them for you just to go over 2 more exercises that are great for your hips, and then we'll do some seated stretches in the chair that also go through that mobility and the importance of the mobility of our body. So we're going to go ahead and lie down on our back. I am, but when you do it at home, you can lie on a bed, you can lie on a sofa, whatever feels good for you. You're going to lie on your back, tuck your tummy muscles in, bend your knees, bring your feet flat on the floor. You may have heard of this exercise before, a bridge. It's a very nice exercise for your hips and really good for your balance. So we're going to pull those tummy muscles in, lift your hips, hold for a breath, and slowly lower it down. Lift, hold, and slowly lower it down. I like to do these exercises nice and controlled. When we're working on our strengthening exercises, we're not going for speed. We're going for nice and controlled. So the first part of the motion I sometimes do quickly, and then control the second part of the exercise. And that's really going to work your muscles well. The next exercise I'll show you is a clamshell exercise. You may have done this exercise as well. So you're lying on your side. You want to make sure your hips are stacked. One hip is directly over the other hip. It's not rocked back this way, but it's forward, which is why I like to keep my hand forward like this to really make sure that my weight is shifted forward here. My heels are together, my knees are together. I'm going to open up that top leg, hold it for a count or 2, maybe 1, 2, 3, and then slowly lower it back down. Hold it 1, 2, 3, and then slowly lower it back down. Same thing on this one. We're working anywhere between 8 and 15 repetitions, going for about 2 or 3 sets. And those strengthening exercises are good to do anywhere between 2 and 3 days a week. So those are great exercises that you can work on. Balance exercises, you can throw them in here or there. You can do a little bit every day, but your strengthening exercises, you want to work on them 2 or 3 days a week. I'm going to hop up here and we'll go through some stretches that will go through your mobility. Make sure your body's moving well and can have the motion it needs to react if needed, and also give you a good cool down from your workout. Then we can go through some good questions. So I'm going to sit up here nice and tall, sit to the front edge of my chair, bring my heel out, my toe is up, my chest is open. We're going to reach forward. Nice and easy here. Hold that position. You're getting a good stretch behind your thigh. And then we're going to take a couple deep breaths. I see there's a hand raised. I'm going to get to it right after this stretch if I can. I'm happy to answer your question. Good. We're going to switch sides here. Chest is up and open. We're going to lean forward. You're getting a good stretch behind your thigh here. Good. We're taking a couple deep breaths there. These are really good stretches for the back of our thighs. A lot of people sit too much and these muscles get really tight. So it's a good exercise for you to keep your mobility. It also helps you to keep a long stride. Sometimes if these muscles are too tight, it can shorten our stride or our step length and make it not allow us enough motion to react if we need to, if we were pushed off balance. We're going to go ahead and cross one leg over the other here. Gently press down on that hip, sit up nice and tall, and get a little bit more mobility in our hip here. You're going to feel a stretch in the back of your hip, or the middle of your hip, I guess, and take a couple deep breaths. Good. We're going to grab hold of the outside of the knee and pull it across towards our opposite shoulder. So you've got the knee kind of coming at this angle. You're getting a good stretch in your glute or your hip there that we just worked on those strengthening exercises for. Tuck it in close, hold it for 2 or 3 breaths. I like to hold stretches for breaths so that I make sure that I'm getting the oxygen my muscles need and that I'm really relaxing through the stretch. Good. Bring it down. We can go through the other side, cross it over, gently press down on that knee. Couple breaths. We'll grab hold of the outside of the knee, gently pull it across. Good. And relax. Let's do a little neck stretch here because I talked about how important the mobility is with your neck and how it's important to make sure that you can really turn and look so you can react with your balance. So we're going to gently tilt our head towards the shoulder. You can place a little bit of overpressure on your head if you want to. If you want to intensify the stretch even just a little bit more, you can bring your hand down under the chair or even behind your back, and that makes the stretch just a little bit more. You should feel the stretch here through your upper trap area. Everybody's tight in that area. Take a couple deep breaths. Good. Look up, gently tilt the other way. Give that little overpressure if you want it. Hand behind your back or under the chair if you want a little bit more of a stretch. Couple deep breaths there. Good, and relax. All right, I'm going to open it up for questions. Sometimes in this talk, people like me to go over how to get up and down from the floor safely, just in general, or heaven forbid they should have a fall. I can go through that if you like, but I'll also open it up for questions. So if you have a question, feel free to use the hand raise or let me know. Just say who you are, and I'd be happy to answer your question.
Hinda, it looks like you have your hand raised. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Question is, I do some of these exercises anyway, but is there any way you could send a sheet email or something that we could all get, so I would have the repetition. I mean, I do the lifts and I do the head stuff, and not enough, but
Yeah.
but it would be nice to say, do this, do this, do this, do this, and have it as a routine.
Sure, yeah. So what I did was I made some little mini videos on YouTube so that you guys can see them again. So you can see the technique and make sure that you know that you got them. And you can check out those videos. Little mini videos will give you an idea of being able to do those exercises again. We're going to send that to you after the program today, as well as a handout of the stationary balance positions.
I have a question.
Go ahead. Tell me what your name is.
Oh, Janet.
Okay, Janet, go ahead.
Can you suggest any interim move that would help in doing that exercise where you're sitting in a chair and you have to stand up from the chair without holding on? I mean, I can't even do that exercise. I can't execute it. Is there anything I could do in the okay.
Yep, I understand. Yes, thank you. So you're asking, the sit to stand exercise is too challenging for you right now, and you're looking for something to work your way up to it, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you can work on your bridging exercise, lying on the bed, lifting your hips. That's working the same muscle group, so that's a great exercise to work on it. Another way is simply just pressing in your chair. If you had a chair that had arms, you can work on pressing up. You could even work on it and I don't know how your mobility is, but you could do a couple pillows or a couple pads on the chair and make the chair higher for you, the seat of the chair higher for you, to make that exercise easier. So it was a smaller range of motion that you had to go through to stand up. So those are a couple different ways you can work on that exercise and get the same desired effect. I see Richard's hand. If you want to unmute yourself, Richard, you can ask the question.
Any advantage or disadvantage to doing any of these exercises barefoot?
Yeah, certainly. I recommend it really just depends. There's a lot of people that have a lot of foot problems. So if you've got really bad feet, maybe you've got really bad arthritis or flat arches, then it's better to probably practice these exercises in a sturdy shoe, because you don't want to give yourself any more problems or pain in your feet. But if you don't have bad feet, if you don't have any issues with your feet, it is a great thing to practice these exercises barefoot, because then you can have a little bit more awareness of the proprioception on the bottoms of your feet and work those intrinsic muscles a little bit more. So that's a good question. Yes.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, Myrna.
Hi, just wanted to ask you, sometimes it's a challenge on my knees to do the things, so my knees will give way. Do you have any knee strengthening exercises?
Yeah, so the bridge exercise and the sit to stand are also very good exercises to strengthen your knees. So they're working on these quad muscles and your glute muscles, and those are big muscles that your knees need for stability. So I know they're not like so close to the knees, but that's actually the muscle group that your knees need to get stronger, to have more stability in your knees. So those are two great exercises.
The exercises that you have where you cross your legs, is that actually bad for the knees?
No, it shouldn't bother the knees. You don't want to pull it too hard if you're feeling like, I don't know, if you've got a lot of arthritis and you really can't bend too much, you don't want to pull it too hard, but those are great stretches for your body. It shouldn't do any problem on your knees.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? I've got Lois. If you want to unmute yourself, Lois.
I am unmuted.
Oh, go ahead and ask.
Do you teach these classes somewhere where we could take a class with you?
Yeah, so I meant to mention that along with the materials that we're going to send you afterwards, I'm starting this Friday the next round of my classes, virtual classes just like this. They go through a little bit more in detail. We do a little bit more exercise. Today I did a bit more talking because I wanted to have you guys understand the reasoning behind some of these exercises, but they start this Friday for 6 weeks. 1:30 to 2:30 through Oasis. So we're going to send the information. We'd love to have you join us. for those classes. And I try to give, for those classes, I will have you with your camera and I try to give you a little bit of feedback and give you options. If the exercises aren't working for your body, we can give you a few more exercises that do work for your body.
That's great. Thanks.
Thanks, Lois. Richard, go ahead again.
Hi, I get dizzy. And is there any exercise to maneuver my head so that I don't get dizzy?
Yeah.
Like the crystals, you know, in the air, they go off balance.
Yeah. Did you struggle with the BPPV, the vestibular issues?
Yes.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you, obviously there's physical therapists that can help you with these exercises, but there's some exercises called gaze stabilization, where you would print out like a plus sign or a letter, maybe a letter A, and you would keep your eyes on that letter. You'd stand about an arm distance away, and you do little motions, little nodding motions, trying to keep that letter or that plus sign in focus. You want to do it as quickly as you can and try it for 30 seconds or a minute to make sure that your body can keep, your eyes can keep that stabilization. I struggled with this recently just before all this pandemic occurred, so I know that can be such a struggle. But it's a good exercise where you do these little nods and then little no's and practice them for about 30 seconds or a minute and focus on that plus sign or that letter A.
Thank you.
Yep, go ahead, Richard.
You mentioned in one of the exercises, Aubrey, that it might increase your walking stride. While walking, does it help to force yourself to take a bigger step?
You don't want to do like a monster step. Like it would throw off your balance if you did too large of a step. But if you find yourself with smaller step strides, you would want to work on slowly increasing that. Yeah. And then a good way to do that is if you're uncomfortable at first, you could certainly use like a hiking stick or something like that to give you some more stability to take that longer stride, and then hopefully you would make your way away from the hiking stick as you felt more confident.
Cool, thank you.
Cool, yeah. Other questions?
Yes, you can get yourself about 6 weeks before I could have colitis.
I'm struggling to hear you, whoever this is. Do you want to chat it in?
You're not able to hear us?
I think it's Thelma, but I'm struggling. You're coming through real foggy. Would you type it in the chat and I could answer your question that way? Oh yes, and ENT would also be good for the vestibular issues too. I don't see any typing going on. Anybody else have any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Oh, confirm Friday's classes. Yeah, so classes start on Friday, 6 classes with me. There'll be an hour-long class from 1:30 to 2:30. They're through Oasis. And so we'll send the link afterwards if you would like to register. We'd love to have you. I will see you on camera. We'll give you a little bit more feedback with the exercises and can progress and adjust the exercises for the participants in the program. Yeah, but thank you so much for joining me today. It was lovely working with you guys. I hope you learned something. And check out the videos that are on my YouTube channel. You can certainly subscribe. I'll post more videos to help challenge you and progress you with your balance. You can practice on your own.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Aubrey. Good class.
Thanks so much, Aubrey.
Thank
Look
you.
for a video from Oasis.